All right, let's see. Is anybody here? Throw me a thumbs up in the chat if you got me. Okay, Sebastian, you got me. Thank you. Yeah, this is what happened. So I know they're tuned in now. I guess y'all, let's get ready. It's about to get crazy over here. It is about to get a little loony. So anyway, let me get to my next clip. Hopefully it didn't pause for too long. All right. So then somebody decided, oh, well, thank you for sending the super chat that we didn't get yet, Sebastian. I trust that you did do that, but I know they don't want us to be great over here. Everything that could be wrong is wrong. It's that, what does they call that? Murphy's Law? Anything that could go wrong does go wrong? So let me bring this other one over because a former Houston appointee claimed that the flood-ravaged campsite was ravaged because it was a whites-only conservative. There's a problem with them. There is a problem with these folks. So check out the clip here, guys. If it doesn't show me an ad first. What you tried to do, because you're not slick, baby. It's trying to do that. So I'm going to let them show their little Amazon thing here. While I let y'all know, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not already. We are definitely fighting against an algorithm over here. It's pretty fun. It's almost like a cat and mouse kind of thing. So I invite it. But you guys are the way out of the problem. Make sure you do your part. All right? Sebastian was trying to do his part. He's trying to send a super chat, but denied, right? Ridiculous. All right, so check this one out, guys.
But Camp Mystic is a whites-only girls' Christian camp.
Why does that matter?
They don't even have a token Asian. They don't have a token black person. It is a all-white, white-only, conservative Christian camp. If you ain't white, you ain't right, you ain't getting in, you ain't going. Period. And I think that context needs to be said.
Why?
In this matter.
Why?
It's not to say that we don't want the girls to be found, whatever girls that are missing or whatever right now, but you best believe, especially in today's political climate, if this were a group of Hispanic girls, especially with them being in East Texas, it should be most likely Hispanic. If this were a group of Hispanic girls out there, this would not be getting this type of coverage that they're getting. No one would give a and all these white people, the parents of these little girls, would be saying things like they need to be deported, they shouldn't have been here in the first place, and yada yada yada. So before y'all come at me, before y'all start leaving hate comments on my page about, oh, these are just kids and they don't know no better, the parents of these children who are choosing, and it is a choice in 2025, it is definitely a freaking choice to go into East damn Texas and to make a all-white enclave, exclusionary just for white people, with all the black people in East Texas, with all the Hispanic people in East Texas. Somehow, some way, you have carved out an all-white, whites-only enclave in East Texas for your white children. Yeah, I have a problem with that. I have a big problem with that. Once again, this is no shade to the girls. I hope they all get found. But once again,
no. Why? See, this is the time. It's the timing issue for me. She can feel how she feels. And she probably is 100% right that there's probably not a lot of diversity at the camp. But what the hell does that have to do with anything right now? Like, why now? Why you gotta say, hey, if it wasn't just white kids, then nobody would care. Well, you know what? When that happens, then we can talk about that. But for right now, can they have their moment? Like, what is wrong with these folks? I don't get it. I don't get it. You know this woman? Her name is Sade Perkins. She's a former Houston official. Now, they did make a point to say Democrat appointed, which is that whole thing again. So they're trying to say that, you know, Democratic people they want death. And then they say the Republicans want death to the immigrants. And everybody's just wants death, death, death. Nobody cares about nobody else anyway. That's why they slashing these different programs. Ain't nobody go protest shit. Nothing. Should have been down there then. But now we got this situation with these flood victims, and I'm not going to be a liar here. I heard that President Trump will be stopping by on Friday. You know, I remember last year there was the Helene thing, and people were really on, I want to say Biden and Kamala Harris, because they didn't come down there within like 3 days, wasn't it? Like 3 days, right? It was long. Trump went first. He was there like day 1, day 2. But now that he's president, he's got stuff to do. He'll be there on Friday to holler at y'all. So in the meanwhile, the rest of us need to deal with the fact that regular people have too much to say about the deservingness of people perishing in a flood and losing everything. Dirty, diabolical, and disrespectful. But like I said, this woman is a former whatever because she also lost her job. But this is some of the aftermath pictures and all that. And this lady is talking about they don't have a token Asian. They don't have a, like I said, I get what she's saying, that she feels that if the people at the camp were a different demographic, that the outrage and help wouldn't be so much. I kind of would have to differ a little bit on that. If you lost 20, 30 kids of any race in a flood, I think everybody with a heart would be out there that could, go in to look for them. I think this lady's stupid for even saying that. And the only way to prove her right or wrong is to have such a situation happen to another group of kids. God, that's so dirty. So dirty. Now, she claimed that she had no shade for those girls, but she also mentioned that meanwhile, they're deporting your family members, setting up concentration camps and prisons for your family members. And I need you to keep that in mind before you go out there and put on your rain boots to go find these girls. That's what she said. And that's why she got fired. That's why she got fired. So, hold on. I got one more. If y'all know these people, I'm serious. We gotta do better, folks. We really do. We really do. Because if we're not willing to hold people accountable, so at least the employers are firing folks over the bullshit. I'll give them their purge of the BS flowers on that, because they are purging the BS when they do that. But like I said, I think this is the same lady. Yeah, Sade Perkins. She was the market manager of the Freedman's Town Farmers Market and a non-resident fellow at Princeton University. So this is a university teacher, professor type of thing. But yes, this was her.
Y'all called the fucking news on me. I wasn't gonna post anymore, but I think it's really funny how my little voice and my little 7,000 followers has garnered enough attention to where y'all want me to make a public statement. And I gave one. I definitely gave one. Wouldn't have been my first time having a news interview. If you look up my name, and I'm sure y'all have seen it, I have, tons of news articles written about me and the work that I've done. So, okay. She asked me for a statement. I gave her one. And I told her what it was. And I think that this is like, on one hand, it's definitely funny because I'm over here kikiing for sure. But do not negate the fact, all right? These are white people using their white power, all right, to try to bring me down, I guess. But the fact that it's just not working is even more hilarious. Y'all have called Princeton. Mind you, my fellowship with Princeton was 2 years ago. The work that I did is already done, and the money that I've been paid has already been paid and spent. So that's done. So reaching out to them is doing absolutely nothing. I mean, you're just making your fingers sore typing all the letters. And when it comes to our Houston Food Insecurity Board, I'm probably going to make a separate video about that because I got a few choice words for Mayor Whitmore. Again, y'all called the mayor's office. I have not been on the Food Insecurity Board since January. So, again, you've done nothing but make your fingers sore.
Okay. Well, she doesn't seem very apologetic at all. Okay. Well, I thought she was going to be more apologetic than that. Most times they'll say, oh, you misunderstood what I was saying, or, you know, something like that. Oh, man, I just realized the second stream cut and restarted. So I lost Ascending Phoenix, one of my faves in the chat. Hopefully Ascending Phoenix gets the new link over there. But guys, this is who we are now. I mean, you know, everybody finds a reason to not care at this point. And this lady, she's like, I don't care what y'all do. I already got my money and blah, blah, blah. No apology and to say, hey, you know, I didn't really mean it to be as offensive as it turned out to be. Like nothing. No. Oh, that's worrisome to me. Worrisome. Because I feel like we better than that. You know what I'm saying? Are we not better than that? Maybe we're not. I don't know. I don't think we're better than that, apparently, because this is what we got. So they doxed this lady now, but of course some people decided to put up some other posts to show that there are black people at the location, and that's fine. I mean, it wasn't even important in the first place. She shouldn't have brought it up. She should have just wished well on everyone. If you had an issue with Camp Mystic, you should have brought it up before this happened. Obviously, you didn't even care about it before this happened. Now, all of a sudden, you got all this to say about how they only let certain people, you know, live through this. So you're saying it was God's wrath? Like, come on, man. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not religious. I'm a spiritual person, but I believe in just in caseness. Okay? I'm what's known as a just in Casian. What if all of it is a construct? What if we get to the end of life and there's nothing and you just, like a battery, it's just over with, right? Okay. That's cool. It wouldn't hurt me to be a better person while I'm here, even if there was nothing after the fact, right? Because good people normally receive good things in life. So you want to be a good person, right? But let's just say, for the sake of argument, if you are of any of the different religions, right? And that religion is 100% correct on whatever their thought is, whether it's Allah, Jesus, whatever, and you get there and you haven't been the best person, it won't matter if you didn't understand the belief system. You were still an asshole on the planet. Like, I think you could make an argument. Like, if you just grew up in a family that had, you know, a certain religious upbringing and you just grew up in that and you believed in that and it helped you to do good things for others and so on and so forth. And let's just say you get there and Allah's standing there and not Jesus, right? But you were following Jesus the whole time. I feel like they might be like, you know what, you still good. I don't know. I haven't been there. Okay? I'm just saying, just in case there is something after this is over with, you want to be in the best position possible when you get to the end. And you don't want to be standing at the gates with Peter and the dude is going over your freaking social media posts. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to be that guy. So just in case, I think we need to get it together. I think we need to stop being so bold with this internet shit. We see something happen, now we got to speak on it. Oh, it's just white people. You wouldn't care if it was black people. Maybe that's true, but that doesn't mean that that's what you got to post. You could just shut up. See what I'm saying? It could. It could. Make sure my transition is over before I bring it back. All right, well, I heard it. Freaking ridiculous, man. Just saying, like I said, I'm not, hey, whatever you believe in is what you believe in. But just be honest. Like, if you get to the gates and they show you a video of you doing something goofy as shit, you're gonna be like, damn, I knew I shouldn't have done that. Oh, and that'd be the reason you don't get in, because it's something you posted on Instagram or Twitter. Let's be mindful, folks. That shit could be that. We don't know. I haven't met nobody that been there and came back. So like I said, yes, it could be we just pass away and that's just the end and there's nothing to it and we just go away and go back into the ground and become fertilizer. That could happen. But just in case that's not the case, I think we need to get our shit together. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, man. Jeez. Anyway, let me get to the next story, man, because I'm done with this lady in this situation, man. I'm wishing all the best to the people who are caught in those floods, man. That was very sad to see. And personally, I'm praying for all of them. All right. Rush Diva in the chat. I see a couple of folks made it back. I was hoping Ascending Phoenix made it back because the stream got interrupted. Oh, there's Ascending Phoenix. Sorry, you were in there. Maybe that was the earlier chat. I don't know. But nonetheless, guys, if you don't take nothing from this episode, just remember, just in case there's a judgment situation at the end, I do not want to be up there going over my social media history and stuff that I posted and Peter be like, so what was this? Really? Monkeys, huh? Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, they deserve what? Okay. Be gone from me is what they'll say. And then you get to go spend eternity in whatever eternity is. Like I said, it may not be real, but just in case, get your shit together, okay? So, I'll be thinking I'm playing. I'm not playing, y'all. Just in case. Better be right. I'll be damned. I'll be damned. So, speaking of people who are getting like some weird backlash, I don't know if you guys remember or know who Alex Cooper is. Alex Cooper is a podcaster with the Call Me Daddy podcast, which I personally believed was a bad move for Kamala Harris to go on that podcast. Not because she shouldn't have been on podcasts, but the podcast itself is kind of trashy, the topics that they cover, and it seemed like it was beneath her. I'm going to be 100% honest. I thought that doing that podcast was beneath her, and she should have never been there. But anyway, the girl who runs this thing, or does this thing, she recently, because you get these 15 minutes of fame by being totally cringe. So she was recently invited to sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game at what looks like a Chicago Cubs game, Chi-Town. What's up, Chi-Town? And I just want to show y'all how it went. We're going to have a quick discussion about it, and then we're going to move the hell on, okay? Here it comes. Oh, hold up. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to this channel. Anyway, let's bring the situation over here. I got to take this out of here. What is her name? Alex Cooper. Let's see here. I'm just going to type it in. Here's the thing. I could sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game a little bit. Like, I'm not the best singer in the world, but I think I could sing it. If anybody wants to invite me to throw out the first pitch or sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game or the damn anthem, hey, hit up a brother. I'll do it. And I won't make it as cringe as what you're about to see here.
Her daddy and CEO of Unwell, Alex Cooper.
All right, Daddy Gang and Cubs fans, are you ready? You've never seen something like this before. A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Mommy's on peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care. Never come back, so let's root for the Cubbies. groupies. If they
They're
don't
booing
win,
her.
it's a shame. So it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old game.
You know what? I'm not a big baseball fan, but I feel offended. I feel offended. She took that beautiful American song with all that heritage in it, and she just pissed all over it. Just peed all over it. Now, here's the thing, man. She's not a comedian. Like, she's not, I've never seen her as a comedian. She's not funny. So she doesn't, why does she get a pass? If a real singer came out there, like somebody who was a real singer, and they sounded like crap, people would boo them. If Beyonce came out there and sounded like that, they would boo her. So this woman is not above reproach. So I have some faith in America because I did hear people boo. They're keeping it real. Like, lady, you're lucky to even be up there. So don't disrespect the damn song. Sing the damn song. I want you to sound like you've been rehearsing this song in the mirror for the last 2 weeks every morning when you got up while you're brushing your teeth. Even if you're not a singer, I want to feel like you're appreciative of this moment and not shitting all over it. Because there's millions of people that would appreciate this moment and not shit all over it. The damn internet fame, man. Y'all forget there was a time where we actually had to do things the right way and be respectful. You didn't jump up in front of a crowd just to be cringe, other than Roseanne Barr. But that was historic. Like when she grabbed her crotch, that was freaking awesome. But that was its own thing, okay? What I'm saying is this woman ain't Roseanne Barr. This woman is the Call Me Daddy lady that talks about some of the most raunchiest. I can't even watch a whole episode. Makes me feel dirty. I gotta go take a shower. Feel violated. So like I said, I don't appreciate that people who get this 15 minutes just do dumb shit with it. As if we don't remember that at some point you weren't this famous and you would have freaking jumped at the chance to be in front of a large crowd and you wouldn't have disrespected the song of the ages, Take Me Out to the Ball Game. It's a very American song. It's and she just disrespected it. So I hope all of us Americans who believe in Americanism, I'm glad that they booed her. I hope she doesn't ever get called to do that again. I hope she doesn't ever get called to do it again for anyone else. Matter of fact, don't have her sing anything. Well, how about that? How about we just start with the fact that she's not a singer and she's not a comedian, so why the hell is she there? You know what I'm saying? Freaking ridiculous, man. And somebody paid her for that. She probably got paid handsomely for that. To go out there and shit all over, Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Disrespectful, y'all. Disrespectful. Disrespectful, man. That's all I'm saying. Let me make sure my transition is working here, because we're about to get into our fun piece here. I know y'all been waiting on it. I know you've been waiting on it. Okay. They've been waiting on it. Let me get a 1 in the chat if y'all are ready to get to the piece that y'all came for. Give me one in the chat. I need to make sure y'all are ready. Need to make sure you're oiled up and ready to slide. Cool. Sebastian, appreciate you. All right, guys, we got to get to it. We have to. And it's only because I know for a damn fact that I ain't tripping. Recently, the F to the B and the I decided, oh, what are you going to just take the page down, huh? I will find it again. They took the page down. That's funny. That is fun. Let's just go over here. Let's go right over here. All right, guys. So you definitely will remember a few months ago, our esteemed FBI and Department of Justice ran into not a problem. They ran into some questions regarding the Epstein List. Now, this is where I'm gonna get in trouble because I know if you mention Epstein right now, it's a lot of flack that you get. And they took us down this road for a few months, not even a few months, a few years. And then yesterday they said that there is no Epstein List and that none of that stuff really ever happened. That Epstein was just a nasty dude. He did a couple things himself and he went to jail for that, I guess. And then he took himself out in jail. They're closing the whole case. They don't want nobody asking no more questions. Nothing to see here. Moving along. But I just want to make sure that I'm not tripping when I say I heard things way differently just a few months ago. So I want to bring over a couple of clips because I know I'm not crazy, but just help me understand here, folks. Help me understand. All right, so the Epstein List, let's just call this what Epstein List? Let's keep it simple. What list? What are you talking about? What is this list you speak of? Huh? What do you mean? What Epstein List? So, just a few months ago, you'll remember this clip here.
Releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review.
What
That's
list?
been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
DOJ may...
Hold up. No. We're not going, it's not, no. I'm going to make sure that y'all see it all. Where's my... Oh, there it is. Hold on a second.
Thousands of videos. Thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And
Let's
there
see,
are
run it back.
thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume.
One more time.
Of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume. And that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that. I haven't seen that statement, but I'll call him later and play it.
Okay. I see what they're doing there. And you know how I feel, guys. You know how I feel. I definitely feel like we got some issues here. Because
I smell bullshit.
y'all smell it? Y'all smell it, don't you? Because now what they're saying is there was no list. Epstein was just one guy doing his own thing with his girlfriend / lady. He wasn't helping anybody else do anything. He wasn't. So why were people on his plane? Why were people at the island? What do you mean there was no client list? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? So we'll run this Tucker Carlson piece. So I can say he could say it, and I could just let y'all hear him say it.
I'll speak for myself. I never thought that I would be offering an apology to Jeffrey Epstein. I think of all the times I've maligned that guy, all the times I'm accused of blackmailing people, of trafficking children to powerful figures around the world on behalf of global intel services. And then I learned yesterday from Attorney General Pam Bondi, that's totally untrue.
Yes, yeah.
The guy killed himself after 36 days in prison for no reason. He was a billionaire. Mm-hmm. He had no clients. He'd done nothing wrong other than get like naughty massages 20 years before. And the guy killed himself, another pointless death. And then his best friend, former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, doing 20 years in prison for no crime. There are no victims.
Yes, it's a victimless crime. They're obviously persecuted by the state.
Yes.
They're political prisoners, really. It's The Hague should come in and do an investigation, or we're watching one of the most systematic government cover-ups of all time.
Damn it, Tucker with the shit. I'll give Tucker his props, though. He's got a cool little intro. Hey, you know what? If anybody knows how to do that kind of stuff, I might be able to use it. But basically, I need y'all to just remember what you heard the first time.
Thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that. I haven't seen that statement, but I'll call them later.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Sure you will. Anyway, y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it is. There's no list anymore. Move on. We don't want to hear it no more. They don't want to hear what you got to say about it no more. It's over.
Who fed MAGA and the American people and promised them to get to the bottom of this, only to turn their tune immediately upon assuming office, lying before Congress, talking about this is an obvious case of suicide, going on the Joe Rogan podcast, and effectively asking for some level of trust that I don't give to any government official. FBI Director Kash Patel said, if I had this information, don't you think I would release it? No, I don't, because actually your actions now just in the last couple of days only indicate the idea that this is not only a systematic government cover-up at the highest levels, not only involving sex trafficking, but going all the way up to the top levels of the U.S. intelligence, the Israeli intelligence community, implicating powerful people, billionaires here in the United States, former prime ministers of Israel, our current president, former presidents of the United States, and for them to come out on the very day, or I guess the day before, that the Israeli prime minister is visiting Washington
for the third time
this year. Why exactly? Can we go over that? Last time I checked, this is a country we do about $52 billion in bilateral trade with, equivocal to like Singapore and Chile. I don't remember the last time the Chilean or Singaporean leaders were in Washington for 3 times in the last 6 months, and to who we give $3.3 billion to. Switzerland. These are all countries I love, by the way. I visited all 3 that I just listed. I love them. Would they serve?
And Israel.
Yes.
I think you went. Did you go to school in Israel?
That's right. I did 6 weeks in Israel. It's a great country. I like it a lot, but it's not about that. This is about my country. And so watching this all just get perverted and then used and hijacking our government is just particularly offensive to me, not only just as an American, but I feel particularly not only deceived by the people like the FBI director and the deputy director, Dan Bongino, but the attorney general who went on camera after assuming her office on the White House lawn. These are supposed to mean things, and said thousands of victims. We have the client list. We have the flight logs. She held a little press conference, whatever event with so-called influencers in which she gave them the Epstein files, an infamous photo that was released. It turned out that binder actually had redacted information in it, which was already public, just to demonstrate how they were turning they're turning the White House effectively into a performative show and making, light of the fact that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of underage victims. And it's just not the victims, it's the fact that it extends to the highest levels of the elite, the transatlantic elite, and possibly even beyond that, from some of the richest men in our country, presidents of the United States, former prime ministers of Israel. We're talking here about Bill Gates, Leon Black, Leslie Wexner, the richest and most powerful people in the world, the Nobel Committee, the scientific, the community.
Which is why they were able to quell the whole thing. The most powerful people in the world all come together. Ain't shit we can do about it. They wanted that thing to go away, and it's gone. It's gone. It ain't happening. I said it early when it didn't happen, when they said it was going to happen initially. I said, we ain't getting no list. That's not happening. Same thing with the JFK thing and the Martin Luther King thing. It's all been for cinema. And at the end of the day, the top is still protecting the top. It does not matter your political affiliation. Do you guys understand this yet? The cinema is in front of you. You're watching the freaking movie. And like I said, this movie sucks. It's very predictable. I hate movies that are predictable. Like when you're watching a movie and you can pretty much guess who the person is going to be that's the snitch at the end or the turncoat. You can guess who's the person that's going to turn out to be the hero. You know, not the main character, but like the side hero. You can figure the whole movie out, even the background. Well, the background of this is they've been pulling the wool over your eyes for all them years. What you thought, just because Trump came into office, all of a sudden, all the rest of them people that was working down in D.C. were going to disappear? All of the folks who had influence would just stop having influence? Hell no. We weren't even close to that. They've been in bed together the whole time. If one of them get crabs, they all got crabs. And they do the whole thing for cinema. Why do you think the votes are always so close? Kind of like how a boxing match, they got to, wait for the card to be decided at the end. It puts suspense into it. But they already knew all this shit was going on. If Pam Bondi was going to release this stuff, she would have done it months ago. And then when Cash Patel and Dan Bongino came on talking about, it was a whole suicide with Epstein. It may have been. And I know I'm not even supposed to be saying that word, but that's what it was. Or at least that's what they're saying it was. And this is a news and politics channel, so I should be allowed to cover the news. Algorithm. Anyway. So I just want to make sure that I'm not crazy when I say that I know I heard X, Y, and Z before. The Epstein thing was a thing for years about Epstein. It was a thing for years. And now you're just going to say that, no, there was nobody else. He was always by himself. Whatever he did, he wasn't even doing nothing. And the lady, she wasn't doing nothing either. I don't even know why they're in jail. I don't know what y'all are talking about. What list? What are you talking about? Who's Epstein? They're going to have us forget who he was and what he did and how he did it. Bring his name up some more and see how much pushback you get. Oh, we found that there was nothing. You can't say nothing no more. It's over with. So much for that discussion. So any victims that may have been victimized in that, just recently there was a lady who was the one victim who they said she took herself out. And she had a whole recording talking about, if I come up missing, I didn't take myself out. And we just glossed over that. Just glossed right past that, huh? Nobody said nothing. Now she gone. Now all of a sudden this case is gone. Now all of a sudden they're telling you don't remember what you know you remember. They're telling you that you didn't hear the FBI director and the Department of Justice and all of them say that they were going to deal with this and that it was a problem and that there was thousands of victims and videos. Really? So where's all that at? They named so many names initially. I think they had Trump in there. Of course, they had the Clintons in there. Everybody. And for it to just, nothing to see here, folks. Okay, now y'all playing in my face. Now you're being disrespectful. And I don't tolerate disrespect. It's very disrespectful for you to come in my face and try to act like you ain't just say what you just said. And like I didn't hear it and have it on a recording so that I could continuously play it back
of
anytime.
Videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that. I haven't.
So
seen
there's no
that
victims
statement,
now.
but I'll call him later and find out.
There's no victim now. Nothing. It's nothing. And nothing happened. What are y'all talking about? Who? What island? You want us to forget all of this shit, huh? And like the freaking Men in Black thing, like pew, and that's supposed to be the end of it. And I'm gonna be honest with you, this one, I don't trust not nobody down that joint. They all just dirty. I've been saying it. I try to say, you know what? Maybe we get some fresh meat in there, some younger people. Maybe we'll get a different ilk coming out of there, right? Whether it was a political thing or not, whether it was a particular party, I was just like, maybe we need to get some younger people in the government so that they can be like more impartial because they haven't like lived their whole lives stuck in that government hamster wheel, right? No, they brought in some under 40s and they all the same. They got to protect the top. And then the rest of us are just stuck on the bottom, and they want us to really just take that stuff that they say and just digest that as law. Well, I'm sorry, Miss Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, Donald Trump, and all of the rest of the people who are on the list that are in there. Republicans, Democrats, entertainers, whoever you are, all of y'all little sick bastards, y'all are the problem. You're sick. And you're sick and you have power. And by being sick and having power, you have the ability to try to tell a couple million people that they didn't see or hear what the hell they saw and heard. You got to be out your mind. Folks, I'm done with these people. I'm not an idiot. I know anybody that watches this show is not an idiot. So that means that there's at least a few thousand non-idiots that I can rely on. Don't let them keep doing this. Like, yeah, let it happen, but call bullshit. Call it. That's all you got to do. Just call the bullshit. Just say it.
I smell bullshit.
That's all you got to say. That's all you got to say. Okay? And let them people know we're not with this no more. Stop. Stop. This whole thing is a freaking travesty. It's a shitty movie, and I would rather the credits go up on it. This is dumb. And it's only right that somebody like Elon Musk would decide to try to start a third political party, which I think will be tainted as well. Because if it becomes too strong, they'll infiltrate the shit with people from the other shit. There is no political party. You cannot be politically affiliated and impartially purge the bullshit. You can't. Because those people are the ones that are selling us out. And it's all of them. They all getting kickbacks. When I did the episode the other day and everybody was talking about Democrats, Republicans, blah, blah, blah. And I said, yo, the big, beautiful bill separates people by income brackets. So everybody who's working in Congress, none of them are low class as far as their income. So they all made out. Yeah, you made it look like it was going to be something. They tried to keep it close. You think they didn't know who was voting which way? This shit is cinema, guys. And they're all down there, part of the elite. Every last one of them, all of the Congress people, all of them come in there making $40,000 and leave with $400 million. Well, let's just say $4 million. But even then, you understand my point. They all are part of that upper income bracket. The only winners in the big, beautiful bill, the true winners, were the upper income bracket. So you think both sides benefiting from it? Both sides aren't going to be a little happy about that, and they just want to act a certain way so y'all keep this dumb divide shit going instead of paying attention to the real problem? The real problem is the people with the money and the power are the biggest liars. And when we call out the BS like I do on this show, I get canceled. I get suppressed. And I'm not doing nothing. I'm just saying, hey, that's bullshit. And because of that, but if I was going along with it and, oh, yeah, oh, they would love it. They'd push the hell out of this channel. Nope, no. I'm not selling myself out for none of this shit. Why? Because at the end of the day, they're not coming looking for me. When I'm struggling, I can't call the damn government directly and say, yo, I'm going to need y'all to tell these people to chill out on me for a month while I get some money together to take care of this bill. They don't give a damn about me. Just pay my taxes is what they say. You pay your damn taxes. And that's what you do. Go to work, pay your taxes, earn your YouTube money, pay your taxes off of YouTube, do some gig work, pay your taxes off of that. That's my job to them. They don't care. And so, yeah, they're going to throw that in your face. And for the next 2 days, the press at the White House press conferences, they'll probably bring it up. And how didn't you say blah, blah, blah? Guys, they're not giving it to you. You're not going to get it. And there's no amount of questions being asked right now or in the near future that's going to get Pam Bondi and all of them to change and be like, we were just playing, there is a list, here it is. So, as painful as it may be, going to have to let that one go. But understand when you let it go, now that you see what you see, can we stop the politicizing of any of this shit? It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. If you look at how these things are broken down, None of it has to do with anything except income brackets, man. Taxes and income brackets. They don't care what color you are. If you earn a certain amount of money, they want their money. You see what I'm saying? So it's not about color no more. It's not about political affiliation. That's why I just said when the Democrats lost, so to speak, in the House on the big, beautiful bill, the winners were the upper class people who make more money. They're all part of that. So who's voting against whose interest? Come on, guys. Let's stop playing like we don't see this shit. Let's stop acting. I mean, like I said, let them do their movie. See what I'm saying? Let them do their movie. Let them do the cinema for the brain dead and the ones that ain't paying attention. But we look at it, we pick it apart, and we purge the bullshit. Because that Epstein situation is bullshit. We all know it to be bullshit, but what are you going to do? What you going to do about it? Nothing. So, as hard as it's going to be to say, you have to let that one go. And that sucks. Because I know there's some victims out there that really wanted justice or something. They wanted to expose certain people. I've heard so many names brought up with this Epstein thing. All types of presidents and all that. You just going to say nobody was there? He was just in the house on the island by himself. Looking at videos. No victims, just looking at some videos by himself in the house. That is some bull. You know the word. And they want us to believe it. Lisa Ann, thank you for stopping in the chat. Leora Henry, thank you for stopping in the chat as well. I see you guys in there talking. I just had to get that out, man. You know, Eric, you came in here with especially the Democrats. We passed that now. We don't give a damn about political affiliations no more. It's all about income brackets, and that's really how it works. And they want us to be fighting with each other about political affiliations when we in the same income bracket. What am I arguing with you about when it comes to taxes when your tax rate and tax deduction is exactly the same as mine? And it doesn't matter if you're white or black. You make X, this is what it is. Peel that fucking political party shit back and stop. It's not mostly none of that. It's the upper class, the haves, the have-nots. That's what we're dealing with. No disrespect. I appreciate your comment, but I need everybody to start peeling that back. Because every time something happens, it's the Democrats, it's the Republicans. No, it's not. It's them fools in D.C. as a whole collective, along with the lobbyists and the big business owners. And I don't give a damn what their political affiliations are because they keep showing us that they don't give a damn what our political affiliations are. They don't give a damn that we want the truth. They give a damn that they protect their assets and their investments. And they protect AI and all this other stuff. Yeah, I said it. They protect AI in the future so they can get more money by having less of us working. Who is that going to affect in the positive is all of them people in D.C. Yeah, they come outside and talk their shit. Either side, they all do it and make you think they're fighting for you. No. Why would it benefit a bunch of rich people to have your broke ass be rich? So peel it back, man. Forget it. That's why I said, look, Elon's idea, I like it, but I'm not joining no America party because that goes against the basis of not being party affiliated. So I like the idea and I understand what he's saying. And I think that people might gravitate to that because they're getting tired of this shit on both sides. And unless you're an idiot that just can't let go of holding down for a political party, you see it too. They're getting over on us, man. They got us doing this. And meanwhile, they at the freaking beach and in Venice and shit, chilling. Trump's taking a whole week to go down to deal with the recent floods in Texas. He used to go to Texas all the time. Now he ain't got time for it. It was all about FEMA help and how bad the FEMA assistance was when he was running for the election. But now he's in office. Now people are like, oh, well, you can go Friday. Cinema. And we are in the front row. And me, I'm throwing gummy bears at the screen right now. This movie sucks. It's a shitty movie. Rotten Tomato score of 13%. And I'm tired of watching it because I'm tired of watching us as the regular people get dragged into it as the damn spectators. At the end of the day, nothing changed for the regular person, even with the Epstein list. So all you can say to yourself is, even if they would have done a bunch of justice, this and that, what would have happened? They're going to bring down a bunch of former presidents? Yeah, you thought so. You think you're that important? It's that important that you know the truth, Mr. Everyday 9-to-5 worker person like myself? We're not important enough for them to give us that truth. But they showed us the truth. The truth is, it don't matter what political affiliation people have. They're all dirty. It's dirty. And it's sickening. And at this point, it has become disrespectful. Jeez. Everybody wanted to, Democrats, man, I don't want to hear that shit no more. We did that for the whole last year. Can we just be honest about this shit? If you got money, it's this. If you're middle class, it's this. And if you're lower class, it's that. The big, beautiful bill is signed. Okay? So this is what we're looking at. They didn't say Democrats get this and Republicans get that and black people get this and white people get that. They said income brackets. It's only 3 of them as far as they're concerned. So if we could focus and stop letting us drag them into their little stupid ass fight about politics when we're not even willing to run for office in our local area, shut up about political affiliation. We talk about real shit over here. Because this is all it's going to come down to is the haves and the have-nots. So I want y'all to understand, I love y'all in the chat. This is just passion. I'm not yelling at nobody. I love y'all for coming in and having the conversation. But yeah, I'm sick of this fucking movie. Excuse my language, but it's just stupid. So now we're going to have a whole week of everybody complaining about the Epstein list. That's not coming. What do you think? Your complaint's going to really do something? What, you're going to write your congressman? And that's going to do something? No, they probably on the Epstein list. See what I'm saying? So screw all of them. They're all shit. They can eat my butt if that's what they feel like doing on a damn Sunday. That's how I feel. And I'm not even into nobody eating my butt, but I'm just feeling like that's the only way to really, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe this without pausing myself. This is definitely a pause moment. Just frustrated, man, because they got us fighting, man. Even me and my own friends be arguing over shit. And I'm like, yo, it doesn't even matter that it's the Republicans that did that. What matters is everybody who makes $50,000 is getting shit. And everybody who makes $10 an hour ain't getting this. And everybody who's this age ain't getting, that's what matters, folks. And if it happens to everyone. So if we all end up on the street, we're on the street together. I get it. You can blame whomever for voting for whomever, but this is where we are now. So we got to come out of 2024, November, come out of that. That's over with, okay? We got to step into 2025 after July 4th because now this bill is in place. Now we can see, was this Project 2025 or not? Because that's what this is. This was his thing. And now we're looking at it and they're telling us we don't even remember what we know we saw. I'm done. And you're right, Lisa Ann, it is the uniparty. That's why I said Elon Musk is on to something with that whole America Party thing. I'm not with it because I don't believe in political affiliations, but I can believe in a movement of people who can smell the bullshit on both sides and don't want to be part of it no more. I want all of them gone. Everybody. Let's just start all over again. That whole structure down in D.C. is problematic to me. I feel like we're underrepresented as basic citizens. And it's only for the interests of the uber wealthy and the business owners. And they all believe in trickle-down economics, which is we struggle till the businesses do better. And then once the businesses do better, the thought is they'll pass that on to us. But we know that's not what's going to happen. Once they start making hella money, they're just going to keep making hella money. They're not going to pass it on to us. What kind of shit is that? That's not how it works here in America. Where are you at? So, nonetheless, I love you back, Z. I see you in there. That's my booski. My boo thing. No, my real boo thing. Like my actual boo thing. Like, that's my wife. So, and you know, sometimes she might not be in the channel because things get a little crazy over here. And she don't like when y'all get disrespectful in the chat. That's why she's a mod. So anyway, you guys can take it how you want it. It is what it is, but I just really think that we need to be 100% real here, guys. 100% real about what we're looking at and what is going to be coming in the future. Speaking of a conversation that might need to be deaded, let me bring this next one over here because I'm through with this with them, at least for right now. It'll come back up because it's always trending. Always trending. Let me bring it back up. All right. Speaking of conversations that might need to be deaded, I thought this was a really interesting clip that came across the line here regarding reparations. Now, I told y'all how I feel about reparations. I think that there's a way that they could be strategic in it, but just handing out a bunch of checks to folks seems like it would either crash the economy or cause too much debauchery. Because a lot of people these days can't handle having a lot of money because they ain't never had a lot of money. So if you give them a lot of money, they're not going to know how to handle it. They're going to wild out, and it is what it is. That's how Carnival Cruises is getting canceled. Sorry to the Carnival Cruise riders. I heard what happened over there. They took it too far. Ticket prices went a little too low. The wrong elements started being able to afford these cruises. And this is what happens. But nonetheless, there was this lady, an older lady, who decided to put up a post about reparations. I thought it was interesting. At least the first 15 seconds that I heard was interesting. But I wanted to go over the full thing with you guys. So let's see what we got here. All right. What we got? Move her over into the shot here. And let's see what she's got to say. All right. Oh, sorry.
My neighbors, as far as I know, have never been owned by anyone. But the people who say we don't owe any reparations for the Civil War are ignoring something really huge. Or maybe they just don't know. Some people already got reparations. White people. White enslavers were paid for losing their human property. The actual people who were raped, tortured, whipped, and sold, and worse, were promised land to get a fresh start after the war, but they got nothing.
Okay.
When slavery was abolished, Congress paid nearly $1 million, which is 30 million in today's bucks, to white enslavers as compensation for losing their property.
Just in case you didn't know, that was the first modern day government bailout. That was a bailout that the government did because they changed the law. A bunch of people stood to lose in the slavery change, so they bailed out the businesses with real revenue so that they could hire the slaves that they had just set free and start what we now know as the indentured servitude, minor minimum wage, low-end jobs. So just in case you didn't understand what she was talking about. But yes, they did bail out the slavers. So that was original government bailout, like a bank bailout.
In a war they lost. If a freed person didn't hit the road fast enough, they risked being re-enslaved under new laws that were just workarounds for all these white people losing their slaves. After the Civil War ended, Union General Sherman set aside 400,000 acres of confiscated Confederate land for black families to start new lives on, up to 40 acres each. The Army loaned out mules to help them work the land. That's where the phrase 40 acres and a mule comes from. Black people were already working some of this land when Lincoln was assassinated and Andrew Johnson became president. Well, Johnson reversed the order. He gave the land back to the same Confederates who had just tried to destroy the country. The freed people were evicted. So they made all these things into crimes that were non-crimes. They were things like
So we're talking about the Negro laws now. I mean, like I said, I'm listening to what the lady's saying. She is making some good points. She's not necessarily saying what reparations would look like today, but she is explaining that there was a process that they went through back then, which was supposed to repair, and it was circumvented by apparently Andrew Johnson, and nobody ever came back to that conversation. So trying to come back to that conversation, that's why it's such a bad conversation to have. Because if it was to be had, it should have been had then, unfortunately. Because there's always the whole, you weren't a slave, rebuttal to anybody who's here in modern day. To say, well, you're not owed anything. You went to the same schools as our kids. You went and lived in the same areas as our peoples did. Talking about the dominant society. So to them, reparations was allowing integration because opportunity to them was the thing that we were being kept from. Or at least at one point, that's what people felt was we were being kept from opportunities. That's where affirmative action came in and things like that, right? But it's really important to understand that land in the same way today. Back in that time, Black American people or Negro American or whatever they called them back then owned about maybe 1% of the wealth in the country. To this day, it's still the same amount. And we've got monies that we're bringing in, nothing. So it's an interesting point, but how do you resolve it? The government's not going to bail out black people. Why would they do that? That would make no sense. Somebody's still got to work at certain jobs and hiring their family, like a lot of the foreigners do when they come over here. They don't want us to do that. They don't want anybody to do that who's not part of the elites. If you're brought into the elites through bloodline, you're easy, right? If you're brought into the elites through some new technology or, some new invention or something, they love you till they can't use you no more. But I'm telling you, that whole group got this stuff from years ago. Nobody's giving out land and mules right now. But we do remember that was the promise. So at which point does that promise ever get upheld? We remember it. It did happen. This lady just said, 400,000 acres, 40 acres of mule. That's where all that came from. We all remember it, right? But where is it? We worrying about Epstein shit. See what I'm saying? They're just going to keep another conversation going so you don't have that original conversation. And after a while, it becomes a moot point because nobody who's alive currently was alive then. So that's the nail in the coffin every time you have that discussion. Well, you weren't there, and the taxpayers that would be paying for these reparations weren't slavers. So we can't hold them accountable for something that the government did before they were even here. That's the problem. And as long as they have that argument, it's never going to get paid out. So that's why I'm saying it's a tough conversation to have because we got to accept that it's never going to happen. You're not getting 40 acres and a mule, folks, unless you can go buy 40 acres and buy a mule and pay property taxes on the shit that you bought. But you do get a different tax break if you put some livestock on your land. I know that to be a fact. You can put one cow on some land and it changes the property tax because it's now got livestock on it. So if you have the ability to do that, I would suggest you do it. Get some land, put a cow or a pig or something on that joint, and it'll be taxed as if it's like a farm. Okay? Let me let her finish.
If a black person didn't have a job, that was a crime. If a black person couldn't prove that they had a job, that was a crime. You could get arrested for that and a lot of other ridiculous things. But once you were in jail, you could be leased out as labor for private profit. This system of convict leasing allowed white landowners and businesses to replace slavery with something just as violent, just as profitable as slavery. No wonder there are still
called the prison system, by the way.
Even after slavery was abolished, Black Americans were not safe. Public lynchings became a regular threat. They were a form of terror used to keep free people in their place. They were planned events announced in advance, so everybody. I've never owned anyone.
All right, well, you heard what she had to say. And I just wanted to, like I said, I wanted to touch on this reparations conversation because it keeps coming up. And as much as I understand the fairness of it and where the people were done wrong oh so long ago, I also understand that you can't necessarily hold every taxpayer, current taxpayer, liable for that. And that's what they would do. They would just up some taxes to say, oh, well, we're upping this tax because we got to pay reparations. Then when you get the reparations, guess what you're going to have to do on that? You got to pay taxes on the reparations. So other people can get reparations. So the question is, were reparations already paid? The answer to that is pretty simple. Yes, they were, but they weren't paid to the people they were intended to go to. And here we are in today's world where our entire government is run by a bunch of elites. There's no more organic people anymore. It's like the organic people are local. You can get to your local city council, you'll find some organic folks. There's a few of them that I do actual cities. But at the federal government level, they all cut from the same cloth, y'all. They all know the same story. They all have the same talking points when it comes to reparations. So it's not happening. Okay? So as long as y'all understand it, we can move past the conversation and understand that a serious wrong was done oh so many years ago. And no, America did not pay for it, per se. Now, if you want to say they paid for it by releasing people into the population who don't know how to act, I guess you could say that, but they put them back in jail and then they become slaves to the prison system. So they actually make out better when certain groups of people act the hell out and do goofy shit that keeps that whole prison pipeline going, that keeps the whole business going that they have. So right now, I don't know what y'all going to do with this. I'm just telling you, reparations as a conversation, we need to get past it. It wasn't worked into this big, beautiful bill. Wasn't even a conversation. Wasn't even thought about. They're not thinking about you like that. They're not thinking about your family like that. All they're worried about is how much taxes you got to pay to help them out of this debt that we just exploded even further. But it's been exploding for 25, 30 years at this point. So this is just business as usual. But I think y'all should really just, let's dead the reparations conversation so we can deal with today's events. Because we got to deal with today. This is the only day we have that we can work with is today and the right now. And right now, the way that this country is set up, it is not black and white like they want us to think it always is. Some people are prejudiced and racist. Don't get it wrong. There's definitely those people here. But the overarching, cover is basically just income brackets. That's it. I'm gonna knock my shock mount. Hold on. Mess my shock mount up over here. All right, sorry about that, guys. Let me get into my last piece as we reel this back in. Lisa Ann, I'm really appreciative of your comments in here too as well, because I need people to understand this is a system that exists, and it just goes day to day to day to day, and they keep us arguing about little shit on the side like Epstein lists and whether or not black people gonna get reparations. Meanwhile, they're signing shit into law that goes and extends out the next 10 to 15 years. Tax cuts and changes that will affect our children's children. And we ain't even paying attention to the shit. We over here worrying about stuff that really we can't fix. So, like I said, that America Party idea, I like the idea, but I already know they'll just infiltrate it and it'll just be the same thing as everything else. So you can't be politically affiliated. You must be an indepublicrat, not even an independent, because they took the word independent and made that a party. How do you do that? So you must be an Indepublicrat. Make sure you check out the Indepublicrat t-shirt, which is on our site, on our store, Freeman Services, and that's freemansvcs.org/shop. We got the Indepublicrat t-shirts up there. If you want to say something, say that. Let them know you're not bought and paid for. You got to earn our shit. You got to tell me something I want to hear, and I need to stand behind that. Other than that, I don't care what the hell you talking about, because I know you on that goofiness from Washington, and you're just here to get a check and keep your family secure. And that's why everybody who was down there benefited from that big, beautiful bill. Even if they didn't want to admit it, they did. I think they came and got me again. Oh, okay, here we go. All right, we're back. They screening it right now. They're trying to get me out of here. They're trying to get me out of here, and I'm getting ready to get out of here. Get ready to get out of here. See, I'm worried they're gonna come in. So let's bring it back over to my full screen. I'm gonna do my last story, and then we're getting out of here. Now, this last one, I just have a question. Like, recently, I've been paying attention to shit. I do. I look at stuff. And there was a raid yesterday, and I'm bringing this at the end because I don't know what's really going on. I just want to finalize it with this. But there was a raid yesterday at a park. An ICE raid at a park, which I found to be interesting because what are you raiding a park for? Let me see if I can bring this up. Hold on. Getting the ad first, so I'm going to let the ad run. But yeah, so yesterday, some U.S. troops, along with Department of Homeland Security and Border Patrol, went to MacArthur Park and performed a raid. I guess, is it called performing when you're raiding? And I just wanted y'all to see this because I thought it was interesting. I thought it was interesting that they went there in the first place. But we're going to talk about that in 1 second. All right, make sure that y'all like and subscribe to the channel here. Make sure that you support the content, support the show. It does take a little something to put all this together for y'all. But I do appreciate you guys being in here. But make sure that you like this stream, okay? So I'm going to show y'all the clip. Once y'all take it in, see what we got.
Federal agents and troops gathered at a park for what appeared to be an immigration-related operation, but the mayor claims the only thing interrupted was a children's summer camp. ABC's Christiane Cordero has details. Christiane, good morning.
Andrew, good morning. The questions being raised about that show of force come as more immigration officers come under attack, facing ambushes and assaults.
This morning, new questions after federal agents descended onto MacArthur Park in Los Angeles yesterday. 90 National Guard troops in tactical gear deploying to the mostly empty park. Officials only saying the troops were there to support immigration authorities.
What a disgrace, what's happening in MacArthur Park. What theater.
California Governor Gavin Newsom slamming the Trump administration.
Those National Guard men and women that were out there protecting people are now being used as political pawns.
Who were in the park today were children. It was their summer camp.
Mayor Karen Bass saying there were no threats at the park, only children whose camp was interrupted.
Did this 8-year-old tell me that he was afraid of ICE? Did the 8-year-old tell me that he was afraid of ICE taking his parents?
A recent report said the park is a crime-ridden, open-air drug market, but no.
Now, I will say this. MacArthur Park is known for having drug addicts hanging out. Not necessarily the nicest place in the world, but it's still a park. And apparently there was some kids doing a summer camp at the park. And according to the mayor in LA, that's the only people that were there. So my initial question is, well, what were they there for? Who got them to come there if there wasn't something like a known issue going on? So up until now, the federal government and the border agents haven't responded to that. So I don't know. Like I said, it's a relatively new story. So I need to make sure what's true and what's not before I really dig all the way into it. But I'll let Karen finish her little question.
Arrests were reported during the troops' presence. It comes as federal officials report a spike in violence against immigration agents, with assaults against ICE and Border Patrol personnel up 500% since January. Just yesterday, a man in tactical gear opening fire on a Border Patrol facility in Texas. Police say 27-year-old Ryan Lewis Mosqueda fired dozens of rounds into the building near the McAllen airport. 2 local officers and a Border Patrol employee were hurt. Mosqueda was killed. Investigators found his vehicle spray-painted with the words Cortes Die, a phrase from a Call of Duty video game referring to an anti-government uprising.
Unless we stop the hateful rhetoric against ICE and Border Patrol, comparing them to Nazis, there's going to be more situations like that.
In a separate incident on July 4th, officials say a group of 10 to 12 people in military gear ambushed officers at an immigration detention facility in Alvarado, Texas. The group drawing officers out of the building, launching fireworks and damaging vehicles before opening fire, hitting one officer in the neck.
All right, I'm going to pause it right there. I got issues. You know, we can start with the first part with what Karen Bass and what she was saying about the park and all that kind of stuff, but there's problems here. Sebastian Polega, thank you for your comment in there. Let's not forget that they are attacking law enforcement officers, shooting at them. Now, I'm not saying that I'm for any inhumane treatment, but these are enforcement officers. You must understand what the term enforcement officer means, okay? That means that somebody gives them a rule that they have to follow, and if you don't follow that rule that they know you have to follow, they have to do their job, which is enforce whatever the hell that rule is. So we could set a shitty rule, and an enforcement officer has to enforce said shitty rule, or face possible termination, dereliction of duty, all types of shit. If you're in the military, dishonorable discharge, just for not following the order, even though you may not agree with the order. If the order to the military was go make sure the Department of Homeland Security guys don't get attacked again, and the military shows up to do just that, how's the military wrong? You see what I'm saying? We're pushing our anger at the wrong people. These are the pawns. These are the pawns. The ICE officers, there's somebody in an office that's sending them to certain locations. That strategically got pins on the board. But my issue with that park situation was, why were they there in the first place? Like, you don't randomly just come up to a park. Who told you that there was some immigrant operation that needed to be broken up at that park? Like, what did you think you were going to find? That's all I want to know. Somebody sent them there. They didn't just randomly show up out of nowhere. There was orders that said, go to MacArthur Park and walk through there because X, Y, and Z is going on. So it may have been that somebody falsely reported something and they were responding to a false report because nobody even got arrested. Nobody. They just walked through the park. They drove around as if they were looking for someone. And that was it. That they didn't detain any children. They didn't do anything like that. They were just there. And apparently their presence is a problem for some. Well, I need those some to understand that a lot of those guys, they're just showing up for their freaking work day. And if they are given an order to say that anybody who's here illegally has to be picked up, if they don't like that job, they're free to go find another job. But if they're going to work that job, they're going to have to do the dirty work. It's a dirty job. They done already filled up alligator Alcatraz in Florida. In a week, they put 2,000 people in there. They just bust them in. These folks have orders. So I don't know how long this shit's going to go on. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm all for getting them out the jail. But I told you what happened with that. Anybody that's watched this show for long enough remembers when we discussed it. That was supposed to be the first phase. They went to the jails to get the people in the jails, and the private jails said, no, they've got to serve their sentences out here because we need them to finish what the hell we need them to do. Prison labor is cheap. And if we give you all these people and we don't get some type of money in return, it's a loss for the business of the prison. That's why they couldn't give them the ones that were in the jail. That's why they're going to the courthouses, catching them when they go to court dates. Because you can't go get them from the jail because the jails are private owned. So maybe if we want to change some rules and some laws to, the government administration, how about you change that rule? Since you want to enforce deportation so bad, how about you take away the provision that a private prison can deny ICE from deporting somebody who's already locked up for a crime? Like, really think about that. So that's why they in parks. But I feel like, this is what I feel. I feel somebody called them and said that something was going on there that wasn't really going on. Or if it was going on, it was done long before them police got there. And they were just walking through, I guess, to make sure it wasn't continually going on. But at the end of the day, if you're not going to pitch a fit about the fact that they can't go get people that are in the jail, then I don't want to hear nothing else. Until we deal with that. Everybody wants to have an issue, but the first issue is not being dealt with. People agreed that criminal illegal migrants, or illegal migrants who have been convicted of a crime were supposed to be the first phase. They didn't even touch that. Because on day one, when they started trying to do that, they were denied. That's when they started showing up at schools, workplaces, warehouses, and all this in parks. So if we're going to have the conversation, let's have the whole conversation. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's right either way or wrong either way. I'm just saying if we're going to be upset about what they're doing, then why not be upset about what they were denied to do in the initial part, which I believe is what most Americans had voted for in the election. They weren't voting for America. They told America they were going for the criminals. Most of us said, okay, well, that's the first thing, but then after that, you're going to go to something else. We all knew that. Problem was phase 2 happened way quicker than we thought because they couldn't do phase 1. So here we are. Now we got military people being deployed, Department of Homeland Security being deployed, Border Patrol being deployed, ICE being deployed just to walk through parks. What a waste of resources this is. This is a waste of resources. Go get them out the damn jail, deal with that crew. While that crew is being dealt with, you send paperwork to the ones that want to do it legally, or you have them do what they got to do to self-deport, right? Keep the humanist side on you. Because at the end of this shit, I don't want to hear, and when I say the end of this shit, I'm talking about when my life ends, I don't want to be at the pearly gates and I'm being questioned about my treatment of immigrants or how I felt about immigrants being deported in 2025. We're all human. There are ways to get these jobs done without dehumanizing people. But what you're also not going to do is you're not going to be shooting my damn law enforcement people either. You're not going to be shooting my military. You're not. Because they're there under orders. They're not there because they don't like you. So you either deal with them correctly or they're going to deal with you correctly because that's what they're trained to do. And I don't feel bad for you. You shoot at the military and all of them people, you get what you get. And I don't want to hear no sorry stories about it after the fact. Stop doing that. And this isn't just illegal migrants. This is a white dude the other day that did that. He set up some firefighters and start shooting them. Stop shooting our public servants, guys. Like, where the fuck is y'all mind at? Where this is what we're doing? We're worrying about a park that nobody was in. Meanwhile, officers are getting shot. And nobody's saying nothing about that. We're all like, yeah. No, that's stupid too. Those folks have families. Granted, some police officers are assholes. But does that mean I want them shot in the neck? No. That means I want them to not be police officers because they're assholes. And that's it. You see how the human thought process can go? Human. Now, the ones that be messing with kids, like people that mess with kids, you know what? I ain't going to say what I really feel about that, but that's a different group. I'm just going to say that. That's a whole different group. If you done touched, diddled, or something with a child, I don't have no sympathy for you and whatever happens to you when you get to jail. But everybody else, mostly, I believe that we should be able to come to a consensus and an agreement on how we're going to deal with them. And not sacrifice our own souls in the process. Like I said, I'm a just in case-ian. Just in case I get to them pearly gates and there is a judgment, I am paying attention to the shit that I'm doing and saying right now. Because I will be damned if eternal hellfire is held in front of me because of how I responded to a damn ICE raid in 2025. So guys, let's get it together, okay? We don't want nobody shooting the officers. We don't want anybody to be harmed in this. This is they called it an invasion. I don't know if it's so much of that or if it's just bad process. That's what I think. It was bad processing and people just ended up all over the place. And instead of trying to write the process correctly, they're just going to try to get rid of everybody. And they got, if I'm not mistaken, was it $40 billion in the big, beautiful bill to put towards ICE enforcement. $40 billion, I think it was. I might be off. It's something billion, though. A lot of freaking money. As a matter of fact, ICE and Department of Homeland Security and all of them, they got the biggest gift out of the big, beautiful bill. The most investment. Bigger than AI, bigger than fossil fuels and going back to that, bigger than all of it. It's because they know that they haven't even scratched the surface of however many people they are actually trying to get out of here. If I'm not mistaken, the initial number they were talking about was like 20 million. I believe currently they might be at 100,000. They got a long way to go. And if they want to get this thing done, they're going to up their presence 100%. 100 times, not even 100%, 100 times. Meaning it won't be weird to just see ICE agents all over the place. They're going to be hiring. So if you want to get into it, if that's your thing, this is a good time to go apply because they're hiring right now. Border Patrol, ICE, all of that, they hiring. But what I need you to understand is this process is not going to be clean. It was always going to be messy. It just got messy too fast. We wanted them to ease it in a little bit. Lube it up a little bit before you shove it. And they didn't. We got like 3 weeks. They put some heads on the lawn. Well, not the heads, but the pictures of people on the lawn at the White House. And after that wave, that's when they started going to schools, graduations, pools, parks, and wherever the hell else. Workplaces, catching people in the drive-thru. They snatching them out the drive-thru window. Hey, is your name Pablo? See, right out the drive-thru window. So that's the part where it was going to get messy. So here we are. Now, how do we move past this? We don't move past it by trying to attack the officers. I don't think any of you would be able to actually help out with the enforcement. I would say the best thing to do is kind of try to stay out of the way. Do your best to stay off the radar. I'm on the radar because of internet. Talking my shit on the internet, that means somebody's paying attention. Meaning that I'm not just doing this for nothing, that it is actually having an effect. So I'm, like I said, I wear it as a badge of honor getting banned. At least on TikTok. I don't want to get banned on YouTube because it took way too long to build this one. But I just think we can all come together now. We all gonna come together. Dewdrop, thanks for stopping in the chat over there. And just, we're gonna have to let this happen. I don't know any other way to say it. Whatever, they just put $40 billion into this. You are not gonna stop this with your individual thought process and individual interference. So the best thing to do and the safest thing to do is get the hell out the way. And then when the dust settles, then maybe we can discuss it again. But this train is moving, folks. And if you stand in front of a moving train, you will not make it out alive. You understand what I'm saying? And that's just being real. Whether I like what they're doing or not, they are under orders. And we have one of the strongest militaries in the entire world, if not the strongest. I'm sure that's up for debate by some country. But our military is strong. You know why? Because they follow orders. So if the order is get rid of 20 million people, guess what they're going to do? And anybody that stands in the way, y'all remember the provision. Yeah, they want us to forget. But we all remember. I ain't that old. I remember the whole situation. I remember everything that was said in the past year, and I'm calling bullshit on all of it. But we call bullshit the whole time here at Purge the BS. So is this any surprise? No. But this ice raid thing at the park, I literally think somebody like doxed the park. They said to these folks, hey, there's something going on here. And they showed up with horses and little tanks and like all types of equipment. And they had the National Guard and they had ICE and Border Patrol at the same time. So I think that it was staged. I just don't know who staged it. Karen Bass and them came on there. They said their piece. I haven't heard Donald Trump say anything about it yet. I'm sure it's going to be part of the news cycle today, but I haven't heard what he had to say about it. I didn't hear him say anything about he called somebody out there or what the setup was. The feds aren't speaking on it, so maybe it was a mistake. I don't know. What I'm saying is this is just another thing that's going to be happening. They put $40 billion into it, bro. $40 billion. $40 billion to pay for a stage, won't it? Sebastian, $40 billion to pay for a staged event, won't it? You could get a whole riot going with $40 billion. You could take a whole city down with $40 billion, if we want to be honest. So there's a lot of money moving around, and it seemed like it was more of a like a photo op for Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass. That's what it seems like to me. Because if nobody was called, nobody got arrested, it was like they just passed through. So they could have said, hey, guys, walk through the park real quick so we can get some good footage. When I saw it, I saw there was camera people already on the ground. So how'd they know they were coming? How'd they have camera people? I'm talking with the shoulder camera, the big news camera. How did they know that they were getting ready to raid this place? That they were there on the ground to take footage of it? Because it's a fucking cinema, guys. It's a cinema. But I'm going to be honest, I feel like they called that in. I feel like California called that in somehow. Somebody in Cali said, hey, this is what's going on over here. They did a false report on something, and they sent them out there so that Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom can act like they mad about something. All they did was disturb the kids' summer camp. Oh, well, you know what? They weren't there because it was freaking Monday. Someone called them. Maybe you should investigate that shit. You think? But no, they're not going to do that. Nope. Because it'll come back that came from one of their damn offices. Somebody called from the office. Bunch of goofies. Like, we don't see it. And that's why we did this episode. That's why this episode's title was The Mandela Effects. Plural. We all know what the Mandela Effect is. It is when a bunch of people believe something or remember something differently than it may have been. And it causes a discussion because one group remembers it one way, another group remembers it another way. And if the two groups are, holding it down on each side, you'll never come to an agreement because they both feel as strongly about it on opposite sides. So let's us not get caught up in this Mandela effect. We heard what was said during the campaign about who was getting shipped out. But then we also heard after that, the prisons say, we're not letting you get them. So you can't take them from us because we're not going to give them up. They're property of the state and they're property of this prison right now. So you're going to have to wait for them to finish their little sentence before you can come get them. And then what did ICE do? Exactly what I said they were going to do. They went for the low-hanging fruit. I said this shit. Months ago, I said this is what was going to happen. And here we are. And here we are. So what are y'all going to do about that? What are we going to do about it? Donald J. Plump, thank you for stopping in the chat over there as well. And make sure, guys, contribute, support the channel. Make sure you can send a Cash App to $ Freeman SVCS. That's Freeman Services. That helps us with our nonprofit organization that's dedicated to training, job training for returning citizens, also known as criminals, and folks who have what's known as employment disabilities. So that could be physical, that could be mental, that could be they don't have any damn soft skills or don't even know how to type up a resume. But our folks need some help, and that's what we're here to do. So that's why I have this channel, is to get the discussions going and making sure that everybody's on the right page. So let me bring it back to my final words over here. So what do we do with this, guys? I mean, really, what do we do with it? I don't know. What I do know is that this whole situation could have been avoided. But not even could have. You know what? It couldn't have been avoided. That's literally how I feel now. You know what? Let me bring this up. Yeah, we're not doing that right now. But nonetheless, like I said, let me wrap it up, guys, because it's been a long episode, and I want y'all to just don't forget what you remember. Don't forget what you remember. Don't let them act like you seeing something and you do not remember what you saw or what you felt or what you heard. We are not just pawns, folks. We are literally the canvas that they draw history onto. And we'll take our stories to the next generations and the generations after that. And if the story is tainted, 3 generations from now, this whole thing won't even sound like what it was. It'll be called the Great Reformation, where people left America and the lower class got to working and da-da-da-da-da. And it's going to sound freaking beautiful. Don't forget the ugliness of it when you're in it. Because this place is ugly. This place is real ugly. Pleasant Gift, thank you for stopping in the chat. Up, here we go with that. We're going to talk about hatred without red hats. Do you think everybody, I have a question for the chat then. Do you think everybody who is a member of ICE is a red hat Republican MAGA person? Do you believe that all ICE agents, all Border Patrol agents, all military personnel, all law enforcement, do you believe that all of them are MAGA Republicans? Do you believe that? Oh, Sebastian, we do have a Discord. I just haven't been on it. It's really tough to do this thing. It takes up so much time, and I'm married and I love my wife, so I like actually hanging out with her. So it means that I can't be online all the time. But the Discord is about to jump up because I need to expand it so that some of y'all can not only get in on the content, but also bring you onto the show. I do have the ability to do call-ins and all that kind of stuff too. But you gotta be real with the call-in. Like, don't be calling from your car and the phone is in the damn center console and you're trying to talk and drive. No. You gotta be set up, similar to me, microphone and a nice sound and a decent camera. Okay? But yeah, I just want y'all to just I keep trying to help everybody understand. Let's pull it. Let's pull it. If all of the ICE agents and all of the Department of Homeland Security personnel and all of the law enforcement, including local police, National Guard, all of the military, if everybody's a red hat MAGA Republican, that would be like winning the lottery. So I would suffice to say that most of them are just following the orders that they were given and the so-called mandate that America gave them when they elected this president. So why are we mad at them when they're just trying to put food on their tables the same way we do? If you're pissed, be pissed at the legislation. Be pissed at the legislator. But going out and trying to attack police officers is dumb, and it might get you hurt. And it doesn't change shit. So we could start with that. There's no change that happens when you go out and attack police officers. The only thing that can happen is you can get hurt, your family might lose you, and that's it. They're not going to stop this thing because you went out there and acted a freaking fool. They're going to lock your ass up, and if your paperwork ain't right, you out of here. Why do that to yourself? So I need us to take a step back because I really have heard some interesting comments when it comes to this deportation thing. And I'm not saying that people that shouldn't be here shouldn't have to go somewhere. What I'm saying is we shouldn't be hoping that they get eaten by alligators. You see the difference? I can go stand in front of judgment and say, yeah, I wanted them to, I wanted the law to be followed and I wanted the, illegal immigration to stop so that the promise of the lower income group being able to now take the jobs that'll be vacated. I can get behind that idea and I can go stand on my thought there. But saying that, man, I hope they escape from there and get eaten by the alligators, that'd be great. We can make a game show out of it. That's sick, y'all. It would make for a decent movie, but in real life, no, we got to be honest. That's not what we want to see. We don't want to see people getting eaten by alligators in the Everglades. They're still people, folks. They are. Okay? Some of them are assholes, and some of them touch them kids, and those, they can walk and go see the alligators for a little bit. If they make it back, send them out the next day. But the point I'm trying to make is we have to be objective. We have to be open-minded about what we're looking at. We're looking at people doing a job, following orders, and one of the main tasks of their job is to follow the orders. So unless you're going to go change the damn orders, leave them people alone. Leave them alone because they have a job to do. And if you stand in front of that job, they have been given the okay to use excessive force. So why do that? You already know what's going to happen. You already know it's not going to end pretty, and you're going to end up hurt. And yes, Alligator Alcatraz is already having flooding issues, but let me just help y'all with that. This is a WTF moment. Well, that's Florida. Okay? That's what WTF stands for on this channel, because we have a lot of Florida shit that comes up. Well, that's Florida. The Everglades is always flooded. You know why it's flooded? Because it's a swampland. That's what it is. So the fact that there's a flood there, who did that surprise? What, people that don't live in Florida or don't understand the layout of the grounds? Means nothing. Florida floods every day. People still live there. What I'm worrying about is medical experiments and shit like that. We just had a whole group of girls get washed away in a flood recently. I don't believe that's what's going to happen to Alligator Alcatraz. So if they got a little water in the front, guess what? Get somebody to mop it up. But what we're not going to do is act like the people who are enforcing this are the bad guys. The bad guys are the persons that put the rule in place in the first place. And if you're not willing to go talk to them, then leave the damn law enforcement officers alone. Let them dudes go home and have dinner with their families and whatever. Like, that's the wrong target, folks. Just like when people get upset, they start rioting and breaking shit in their own neighborhoods. Wrong target, folks. It does nothing. Does absolutely nothing other than possibly get people hurt and arrested. That's it. And if that's what you want, fine. If you want to go get hurt, you want to go get arrested, fine. Have at it. You're free to do so. But to me, that's stupid. That's a waste of your time, and it will do nothing. So what we have to start doing first is we have to have the real conversation. Until somebody is willing to go down to D.C. and tell D.C. to stop letting the prisons not let you take the people you said you was going to take, then I don't want to hear it. Because there's thousands upon thousands of criminals who are not here legally sitting in jails right now. And nobody is pissed off about that. They just pissed off that they're doing what they're doing, but not saying it's the prisons and the people that own it, who a lot of them are government officials. These are privately owned businesses that have tradable stock. So, of course, they're not going to push hard to have the prisons get shut down by ICE for having illegals there because they're making money off of that shit. And then the government just gave them $40 billion to keep it going. So I'm going to tell y'all what, this is just getting started. So I hope your stomach is strong because it's going to get nasty. But if you're going to have a focus and you're going to be angry about some shit, you got to be angry about the right shit. Pleasant Gift, thank you for your comment, and I appreciate you noticing that the majority, if not all, are black and brown immigrants. We can't have that conversation yet, though, because we haven't dealt with the ones in the jail. That's what I'm saying. We can't even have this conversation because the real problem is where it's starting, which is you're not taking the criminals that we said we were taking. They're still here in a jail. And if the folks aren't there when they get released, guess where they get released into? The damn public again. So go get them. Stop going to the park. But that's not the orders that they're being given. And that's the problem. That's the problem. It's just, it's a wild ass cinema, guys. It really is. I'm going to give my shout outs. I got to get out of here. Yeah, I definitely went a little longer than expected, but I appreciate y'all for coming through. Special shouts to Donald J. Plump for coming in a little late. Always appreciate you stopping in. Make sure you get the gong for you. All right, Sebastian Palega, one of my newer mods. Thank you for being always supportive. Appreciate you. Didn't get the super chat that you sent, but I know that you wanted to support. Make sure that everybody else does the same too. Leora Henry did stop in today. Dewdrop was here for a little bit. Lisa Ann came in. Chris is my Sergeant at Arms, Al Bond in the chat. That is my mod squad. Phoenix as well. If I missed you, hey, it's all good. Just make sure next time you jump in the chat, make sure you keep supporting the channel. Make sure that you do what you got to do to be a better person tomorrow than you are today. Because if you are a worse person tomorrow than you are today, then that, my friends, is the bullshit. And we out.